Welcome back to the Strong, Healthy, Happy podcast. I am so excited today. I've got one of my amazing clients on. Her name is Sue, and she has had incredible results since she's been coaching. And we want to share all that Sue has learned and where she was when she started, before she started coaching, and where she is now, and all the amazing changes that has happened as a result of coaching. And I'm going to introduce Sue. So, Sue, do you want to just say hello? Just say hi to everyone so that she's there. This is Sue's first podcast. Obviously, I do this every week. We haven't had any practice or anything like that. We have some questions, and we're literally going to use this podcast as a chat between me and Sue and to share with you our conversation, so that if you are feeling skeptical about investing in your health, whether it's trying something new, whether it's having coaching, I wanted you to hear from Sue as much as possible, because she was very skeptical at the very start of coaching. And we're going to work through the stages and what she's achieved and what she's learned as a result of coaching. So I'm going to, first of all, Sue, it's going to be really great to hear from you. I'm going to try and let you do the majority of the talking. But tell me, what motivated you to first inquire about coaching with me?
Probably because I had been to all the diet clubs, and they are led by leaders. They're not necessarily people that have got a lot of nutritional knowledge. And I knew that you had got a lot of fitness and nutritional knowledge. And so that was the reason why, really.
Yeah. Had you had much success at the dieting clubs that you had been to?
On and off over the years, and I have been to all of them on numerous occasions. So it just wouldn't have been one time. I might have been a Slimming World 10 times over my life, and the same with Weight Watchers. I hated the weigh-in, and that made me have a really bad relationships with the scales. Every Tuesday or something, hardly eating anything all day, starving by the time you got there, queuing up, the whole thing. I hated it, but I did it. I did it because that was what I did. Yeah.
I think I had another client on here a while ago, Emma, who talked about Slimming World a lot, and how she also hated those weigh-ins, and how she also would, not eat all day, shave her legs, take the belt off, take the watch off, anything to manipulate that scale weight. And unfortunately, a lot of the diet clubs, they're not led by qualified nutritionists, and you are sort of praised or shamed for the scale weight. And obviously now, as a part of coaching, you realize that one scale weight a week, especially not first thing in the morning, if you go to a weigh-in in the evening, it's the most inaccurate way to take your scale weight. But obviously, lots of women, it's all they know, so it's like a default setting to go to your local meeting, without really understanding that there are alternatives, and they are much more healthier and beneficial alternatives. So I'm really pleased that you did find me. Thinking back to our first phone call, so after you contacted me, we arranged just a consultation call, no pressure to sign up. Think back to that first phone call where we met and discussed your goals and how the coaching process works. Do you remember how you felt during the call, before the call? How did you feel on that call?
Well, once I spoke to you, probably optimistic, but before that, skeptical, like you said. Optimistic that, yes, that things were achievable, that I could get fitter, stronger, happier, and have some weight loss. And at that point, I realised I'd tried everything, and I was putting effort in and time, but obviously not in the right way.
Yeah, I think that's very common, that people do try really hard. It's not through lack of effort that they're not getting results, but often their efforts are placed in the wrong place. Just going back to your previous dieting history, you obviously, Well, I don't want to say obviously, but did you lose weight on the diet, but then fail to keep it off? Was that the issue, that it was this losing, gaining cycle?
Not so much. I didn't lose so much in the end with Weight Watchers, because all the free food, the same as Slimming World. And I think when I started with you, you did say to me, "Why are you having that much chicken in a portion?" And I was just used to having that much chicken because I could have that much and more. So, it was just all the free stuff. And the more you diet and the more you can bend the rules with things like that, you do.
Yeah,
The people
yeah,
there are making cakes out of Weetabix, and the eggs are free, everything's free, and you can't believe they've not lost weight, and that's what happens.
yeah. Unfortunately, everything has a nutritional value, no matter what it is. Healthy food, nutritious food, not so nutritious food, everything has a value. So you did make the jump to go into coaching. What made you finally decide after that call? You didn't sign up on the call, you took some time to cool off, think about things. What made you decide to take the leap of faith and start coaching?
Well, I didn't feel pressurized to do it. You didn't hassle me or anything like that, so I didn't. And I'm very I think about things, and then I have to have a little sorry, I have to have,
We're in real time here with the dog.
yeah, I have to sort of think about things on my own without um and then the next couple of days I thought, yeah, I'm going to go with it. And I've got nothing to lose, what you're doing. And it was a different approach, so I was confident. Yeah.
Okay. What remind and tell the listeners, what was your goal? I mean, I know you've touched on it in the beginning, but what was your goal at the beginning of coaching? What is it that you wanted to achieve?
Well, probably the main thing was weight loss,
Yeah.
but I've gone through the coaching. That probably isn't as important to me. I mean, it is, because I've lost weight, but the to feel happier in myself is the thing, and that I do now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real, if we, weight loss is pretty much every person's goal that contacts me for coaching. And like you, what you've discovered through the coaching process is, yes, weight loss is a valid goal. It improves your health. You want to feel good in your clothes. But along the coaching process, you learn that it's so much more than just weight loss. I think that's the discovery, that the self discovery that you've been through in the last 6 months of coaching, is that discovery that, yes, it's about weight loss, but it's so much more.
Mm.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think I do like socializing a lot, and I go out probably every weekend, and that was a big concern, because before I would blow it, on a Friday night, have too much to drink, then have something to eat when I got in, and then the next day pick because I was tired, I hadn't slept well, and I think I was thinking, good luck with anyone trying to coach me, because basically, what can we do? But actually, things have changed now. I still go out a lot, but now I love getting dressed up, and then I go and I know how to handle it a bit better. I'm not saying I'm not, but I am a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to be perfect. I never strive for perfection. And I remember distinctly, Sue, you saying to me, I don't know if it was in text or verbal on a call, but you said to me, you were pretty like pragmatic, dogmatic, I think the word is. I go out every weekend and I drink and I'm not stopping that. And I was like, that's fine. The idea is that you learn to do those things, but still progress towards your goal. And I think that's been one of the huge biggest changes that's come about through your coaching, because you do have a very active social life and you are out every weekend and you look fabulous in your clothes. Um, would you agree that with the other dieting methods, they don't teach you to live your life, have fun and enjoy it, but understand what you need to do and the compromises you need to make in order to keep progressing towards your goal?
Yeah, because they don't touch on like sleep,
Yeah.
anything to sleep. And sleep is so important. That's one
Yeah.
thing in this as well, that, if I don't sleep very well, then I'm hungry the next day. You
Yeah.
know, the other thing is, you've said before, I think a little bit through this, I said to you, I'm going to start doing the couch to 5K with my training. You said, no, you're not. And I said, what? Sure, I don't understand why not. But I do understand now, because the days when you do things like that, push yourself cardio wise, you are more hungry.
Yeah, it does. It can spike hunger.
Yeah, so you don't learn any of that at diet clubs. You don't have any of that input. So that's a good thing for me as well. The fact that I now know that if I'm tired, I'm likely to eat.
Yeah.
And if if I've done loads of exercise, more than I would normally do, that I'm going to be hungry. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you've learned to tune in a lot more to your body and your hunger signals and your signals of fullness, which takes quite a lot of tuning in and understanding. And also, although you're tuning into those signals, you still need to be in a deficit to make progress towards your goal. And you've definitely learned to do that, because the results and the scale weight coming down and your photos and how you feel in your clothes absolutely represents that. But I want to go back to your social occasions, because you do have a very active social life. Now, obviously, I know, because I coach you and I see the changes that you've made. But, you know, for the listener, have your socials become any less enjoyable? Are are you still drinking at the same, are you still drinking alcohol at the same capacity that you were before? Have you set yourself up better, nutritionally, before you go out, after you come home? What's changed there? Because you haven't stopped your social life, which you absolutely shouldn't. No one should. But what's changed? Because it's really, especially with Christmas coming up and everyone's diaries are going to start to get busy now, and people sometimes think, oh, well, I've got a social, I can't make progress, or I can't stick to my diet, so I'm just going to bin it and I'm just going to do what I want, and then feel really bad after, and then go around this sort of cycle again of Monday morning over restricting, going through the week only to repeat the weekend behavior the following week. How are you managing now your social occasions? What's changed?
Well, probably planning more. Like, I will find out if, I went to a party on Friday night at Watford Football Club, and there was, I now find out if there's going to be food there, if it's going to be like a main,
Yeah.
because you go, it's just buffet food and it's nibbles. And if it is, then I just don't have them, because if you go to that table and you've had a couple of drinks and there's all that, you think, oh, I'm going to have a carrot stick or something, but it's best, I just don't go to the table. But if I know there's going to be a meal there, sort of like a hot meal served, then I would plan that now. I would sort of think, right, okay, on Friday when I went to the party, there was like some chicken kebabs, and I knew that was going to be on the menu. So I sort of planned that in my mind, and that's what I had. I've changed what I drink. I have vodka and slimline as opposed to wine. If I do go for a meal, I will have a couple of glasses of wine, but not like I was, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just all more mindful, really. And then when I get in, that is a danger time for me. If I get in, and I've had a couple of drinks, and I could pick, but I just make sure there's nothing in that I could pick at,
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Your self-awareness and
Yeah.
knowing when you're more susceptible, and putting in the plan. So you have that plan, you follow it, and you wake up the next morning and you feel happy with the choices that you made. No matter how those choices look, you've kind of structured it, planned it out. You've done really well, really, really well. All of my clients who used to drink quite a lot, like I don't, they're not alcoholics, obviously, but alcohol featured regularly. And some clients were obviously, drinking during the week. They'd got into a bit of a habit, coming from a long day at work, have a glass of wine. All those clients, and including yourself, who have reduced the amount of alcohol, none of them feel any regret, or like all of them conclusively say they feel so much better for it. Would you agree with that? Were you in that bracket of the feedback that I've got from those clients that have reduced alcohol generally through the week?
Yeah. I mean, I don't ever drink at home. I would only ever drink if I went
Yeah,
out a lot. So, if I so what I was doing probably before I did coaching was just maintain my weight, because in the week I was probably very good, and then at the weekend I was dreadful.
yeah,
So, I was either staying the same or gaining, because so really now, by controlling it, I'm sort of losing, and then at the weekend, like you say, the weekend's just another day really.
yeah,
I look forward to next weekend because I've got nothing on, so I
yeah.
can be, just have a nice, and I'm not depriving myself either. So
No,
food, I mean, I'm loving the food. I'm
yeah.
full with the food.
Yeah, because you've improved the quality of the food that you're eating. I remember you were tracking, and obviously you shared your food diaries with me, and you were using a tracking app. And I do remember at points during coaching where the weekend would be completely untracked. And I know that, obviously, if you've got a party and things like that, sometimes it's difficult to track. You don't know what's in the meal or whatever. But when we did pay more attention to those weekends, I think that was a huge turning point to you really beginning to up the rate of your progress and not have these weekend setbacks.
Yeah, I think you've said before the 2 out of 3 rule or something. So now, even
Yeah,
it, so like I would definitely, you know, have the breakfast and lunch knowing exactly and tracking it. And then, as I say, when I go out, if there's a chicken kebab or something, I don't know exactly, but, and I might not track it, but I know in my mind I've had the healthiest choice.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the 2 in 3 method, for anyone listening, is a method I use with my clients, whether they're on holiday, whether they're, in a social occasion. It basically means if you think of 3 meals of your day, if 2 of them can be what I would call smarter choices, eating in line with your goal, choosing the high protein option, veg, salad, etc. And then one of those meals being a little bit more relaxed, having something you really want as opposed to what you think you should have. And if you look at consistency, consistency is, you are a result of what you do most. So even in one day, if 2 of your meals were smarter and only one isn't, you're still in the majority of making those smarter choices. And also, eating those regular meals are going to reduce your likelihood of the snacking, the picking, and not feeling full enough that you then end up seeking out something to top you up, which never quite does it? It never quite satisfies you. Um, okay, we've kind of talked about your other dieting history. So I'm not going to go over that again. We've got a list of questions, but I'm not going to ask about your dieting history unless you have anything to add, Sue, to that.
No.
Okay, what I want to ask you is what did you achieve from coaching? What is there anything you gained in coaching that you didn't think that was going to be possible, or just generally, what did you achieve? What did coaching give you?
Strength, mentally and physically, I think. I mean, definitely physically, my job is physical. I sit on the floor all day doing people's feet, and I carry my bags in and out. I get up and down from the floor, um, and that's hard work. And so I'm stronger doing that. And mentally I'm stronger because I feel like I can sort of take on the world a bit. I just know that I can do this. So it's a really nice feeling, because when you've been battling something for years and years and years, then all of a sudden it just clicks, you know. I do my family on Sunday, I do, like a treat breakfast, and I normally do things something like sausage and egg muffin at home. I'll do that for, and before I used to be so fed up, that I couldn't have that. And I know that actually if I adapted it I could have that, but actually I don't want that anymore. I love the breakfast that I have, and I want it on a Sunday as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's just nice to feel that I'm not being deprived. And if I do want that, I can have that. And I just feel in control.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's
that's, yeah, feeling in control is a great
mm,
feeling. And just to explain to anyone listening, when Sue started coaching, she was going to classes. She has a gym as part of where she goes at her health club, but she wasn't using the gym. And she is now a regular user in the gym. Her program's been progressed as we've gone through coaching. And the reason why she's feeling stronger is a result of the resistance training. And I do want to credit you, Sue. You were very open to getting into the gym. You didn't resist it at all, even though I know you enjoyed the social part of the classes that you were doing at that time. I
mm.
know your gym has quite a good community, so I'm presuming you're still seeing all those people
Yeah.
still, which is great. Talk to me about the gym. Tell me how it felt going in there for the first time, not being used to that environment and doing different things that perhaps you hadn't done before.
Yeah. Well, you're always a bit self-conscious, I think. And there's certain pieces of apparatus now that I don't particularly like doing, and I always get somebody to set me up on them again because I don't quite get. But yeah, I mean, I'm more confident now with it. But when you first go in, it is a little bit daunting. But there's always people to help you, and
Yeah.
nobody's looking at you thinking, "Oh my God, look at her." They're. So no, I'm fine with it. And actually now I prefer it to doing classes because I drop my son off at 7 in the morning and I go straight to the gym, and that fits in with me rather than waiting for a class. And and yeah, I enjoy it. And then I have my shower and then go to work and I'm set up for the day.
Yeah,
So
amazing. And you've been very consistent, and we have added in cardio. You touched on couch to 5K earlier, and I talk about running a lot in my social media. I've talked about it on previous podcasts, and I'm a runner and I do love running. At the time that you first said to me, I'm going to start couch to 5K, and I put the kibosh on it, was because you were making so much progress, managing everything that I was giving you to do, whether it was nutrition, whether it was exercise and the gym, your steps. You were doing so well. And I'm a big believer in when something's working, we don't want to upset that balance because you're making progress. You're probably at a point now where you could start thinking about whether you wanted to add in, like a couch to 5K. You're doing cardio now in the gym, and it would just be transferable outside of the gym. But it's very important to manage the level and doing it at what I call a steady state. So for anyone who's jumping around doing HIIT, it can really spike hunger. You want to keep a consistent intensity where you could have a conversation if someone was running alongside you, because it will help manage the energy expended, but also the uh, potential risk of a spike in hunger post exercise. And as someone who's been around and led running sessions for many, many years, if I had a pound for every time someone said at the end of a run session, I've earned my fill in the blank, I would be a very wealthy person, because guaranteed any more than one person would say that at the end of the run. And you see, this also happens when you do cardio, and running in particular, is you kind of feel like you've earned the right to eat the calories back that you just expended, and you end up moving less and your steps are less overall because you've done that run. So it's very important to manage it and make sure that it's at a level that is sustainable and doesn't offset all the other amazing achievements that you're making. Um, and obviously, this is one of the benefits of having a coach to oversee this. Um, okay. Anything else that you want to share that you gained from coaching? So, often we talk about weight loss, And if we were to put a number on your weight loss, Sue, I'm right in saying overall you've lost around a stone, which is a huge achievement. But what I want to emphasize here, and if you're listening to this podcast, I am going to be sharing a post on Sue, because, you know, she really does deserve the acclaim on social media. She may have lost a stone, which might sound, like a large amount of weight, but actually the physical changes in Sue far outweighs the amount of weight she lost. I mean, you say this, Sue, don't let me do the talking for you. Talk about your body composition, talk about what you've noticed.
Uh, well, a lot of my friends keep saying to me, "Oh, for God's sake, stop wearing stuff that doesn't fit you anymore," because I've got a lot of clothes, and some of them are too big for me, or just to change shape. So it's just, I love getting dressed up. I always have done, but the last couple of years I haven't felt really that nice, although I've always dressed for my size. But now I do need to probably change what I'm wearing a bit, because I have completely changed shape. I've got a waist again. I've always had, I've always thought that there was something wrong with me, that I had fat pads around my knees, but actually I haven't got them at all. They're fat legs, big legs. And so now, I've just completely, and sometimes I look at myself in the gym and I can't believe, I might look in a mirror and I think, oh, and then I think that is me, and I can't believe it's me. So, yeah, I'm not, it's just completely changed everything. I loved everything about the coaching. I liked the app, the trainer size. I loved the check-in on a Monday, everything about it. Yeah, very good.
Oh, I'm so pleased. Have other areas of your life been impacted, or any people within your life been impacted from a result of how you're now feeling and how you live your life?
Probably at home, I'm probably happier. Um, yeah, probably. Probably just my mood has changed a little bit, because if you don't feel very nice about yourself, then it's transferable, isn't it, down the line a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Oh, it's just so good. Is there anything, I know you've touched on the coaching process, but what did you find helpful about the check-ins? You said that you enjoyed, like, you liked the check-ins. Is there anything specific that was
Well,
useful or helpful about the weekly check-ins?
I think the first time I filled it in, I was thinking, what on earth are all these questions for? What's that got to do with it? But actually, as you go through it, you realise that they are very relevant. The sleep thing, that is definitely an important one. Has anything affected your ability to do it this week? It's all important, and everything you put down, you feel like you bare your soul, you put it all down there. It's no good lying, so you put it all down there. And I remember once I said to you, oh, there's a girl on your page and she's lost loads of weight and I'm not as quick as that. And you said quite rightly, well, you need to pull a few things more. You sort of didn't tell me off, but in a nice way said, well, you need to sort of rein it in a little bit more now, because I'd been really good, and then I'd just not gone off the rails, but probably took my foot off the pedal a bit. And you were right, so it's a time to reflect and sort of think, what have I done all week? And then actually you think, well, yeah, there's a reason for perhaps it slowed down this week, or so it's good.
Yeah. The check-in form, just to explain to everyone. So the check-in form is where clients, as Sue says, answers questions, and it's an ideal opportunity to reflect on the week. And with coaching, it's just so much more than, eating less and moving more is really not, yes, that's the science, but it's not really very helpful when you're a real person with a real life, real pressures, emotions, family, work, etc. Eating less and moving more is really not helpful. We know we need to do that, but there are many barriers and limitations that stop us from doing that. And so the check-in form really helps identify challenges and areas that we can work on. And Sue's touched on sleep a number of times, and she's quite right to do so, because it is one of the questions in my check-in form. And something I find with women, especially when they hit a certain stage of life, maybe going through perimenopause, is that sleep can be impacted. And sometimes there are just very small things that we can do to support better sleep, because even one poor night's sleep can impact your hunger hormones and put them out of whack, increase hunger, as Sue said earlier, reduce your feeling of fullness, you feel low mood, you feel a lack of energy, and your body wants to drive you to eat to try to give you more energy. And it's not obviously very conducive when you have a weight loss goal. So sleep is a really big part of it. So sounds like you've learned a lot, Sue. I'm really proud of you. Knowing what you know now and the process that you've been through, if you could go back and tell your past self anything, or give your past self a little bit of advice or a pep talk or whatever, is there anything you would say to your past self?
Just to, well, I don't know about my past self, but I know now that organisation is, I am a really organised person anyways, but I was doing it in the wrong way. So now, I mean, I watch my son all weekend play sport. Saturday and Sunday, we leave here early in the mornings and we go and watch him. And now, I take all my stuff with me. I think about it the night before. I then, do a little breakfast. We go and have a coffee. You said one day, why are you using your on a cappuccino? And I used to have a skinny cappuccino. Now I have a white coffee. I get the milk on the side and all this. So all these things, I go for a coffee with my husband while he's training before the match. But I just changed everything that I used to do.
Yeah,
So that's what I probably would tell myself, to just organize myself in a different way, really.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not that you can't have a cappuccino, but now you're a bit more selective when, and that you enjoy it. And nothing's, everything's included, all foods included. Like, I would never tell anybody not to have something, but knowing when to pick and choose it.
Mm.
Got definitely higher standards now, which is what I sort of try to explain to my clients, is have a high standard. If something doesn't taste nice, don't just eat it because you've ordered it, or because somebody made it. If you don't like it, start sort of tuning into yourself. And you've definitely done that, and you definitely now have more planning and more organization and self-awareness. Would you say that you've got the skill and what you've learned in coaching to take you forwards
Yeah, I think
by
so.
yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I think because I don't know how long a habit has to be before. What do they say? You learn once you've done something for so many months or something. But no, I feel like I have. I mean, I'm the sort of person that, if I've got that knowledge, I will use it and I will stick to something. I do stick to things, and so yeah, I think I have. The walking, I love. All these things that you've said to do make you feel better anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
But eating more protein, that's an easy one. Um, I've changed, like my lunch used to be, a Warburton's thin with whatever in it, and a bag of low fat crisps, and then that, which used to make me fed up because I didn't really like them. They didn't fill me up, and I wanted a full fat packet. And now I have, a hard-boiled egg, a load of salad in a bowl, a protein bagel with loads of ham or turkey in it, and I'm really full up afterwards. So, all the things that I've changed, I actually prefer to what I had before.
yeah. I think you've learned, from what you're saying, you've learned to nourish your body and to really fuel it well. And what you eat really does affect how you feel, how you perform, how you function in day-to-day life, as well as your cognitive function and just your energy and your overall mood. And you've definitely demonstrated the improvements in
Mm.
that. And I think you've made everything sound very easy, Sue, but it has taken, you know, it does take effort and being open to change, which you've had.
Mm.
I think that's why you've had such great success. Really,
Mm.
really do. Now I've got two more questions for you. I just want to touch on this one really quickly because here you are on a podcast today. You've never been on a podcast before. It's not something everyone does day to day. Um, you're talking openly about your journey in coaching, the achievements, and what how far you've come. When we first started coaching, you made it categorically clear to me that this was something you were doing privately, not to share anything on social media. And then it changed because it didn't take too long for you to give me the okay when I asked you about sharing one of the pictures that you sent me of yourself feeling fabulous. It's only a few weeks into coaching. What changed?
Well, the fact that you can see results very quickly, and then your confidence grows. I suppose at the beginning, I didn't want anyone to know because they all know that I've done so many diet clubs over the years that you think, oh God, I can't tell people again. They're like, oh, what's Sue doing? So that's why. And then now, they can see that I've changed, the way I am, the way I look. So yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And you sound like you have really supportive friends
Mm.
who really want the best for you. And not all social circles are supportive like that. So big shout out and credit to your circle, really supportive. Last question that I want to ask you is what would you say to anyone who's thinking of coaching, who's tinkering about finding out more? What would you say to them?
I would say do it because you've got everything to gain, nothing to lose, and the knowledge that they will get will take them through life, and you'll be able to stick to it, and it's enjoyable. I mean, I'm looking forward to my dinner tonight. I've got these lovely from Aldi. I'm an Aldi shopper, so it's not, I've got these. There's a new thing out, king prawns in this little, and I'm going to put it with broccoli, and I'm going to weigh my pasta out and have like so you've got everything to gain because before I used to be really bored with all my but now it's exciting. So yeah, do it because you won't regret it. Yeah.
Just so honestly, Sue, I mean this without sounding condescending. I am just so proud of how far you've come because it is absolutely incredible the journey that you've been on, the point that you're at. You're not done yet. You're living your life now. Alongside all the gains that you've made, you're feeling so much better in yourself, and everyone around you can see that. You've done a tremendous job, and I'm really grateful that you've come on today's podcast to share it with other women, because I think there are a lot of women out there that aren't feeling happy with themselves, that are going around the perpetuating yo-yo dieting cycle and not knowing that there is an alternative option, that you don't have to keep going back to something that clearly isn't working or not long term anyway. So I really do want to say thank you. Is there anything you want to say before we sign off? Anything you want to add at all?
Just really that if anyone is thinking of it, to do it, because we've still got, I think, 10 or 12 weeks before Christmas, and you could do so much by then. You really could. I mean, I think I've done this for 6 months. So, and I like you say, I mean, I'm not at the ideal weight. I've still got a long way to go, and but I feel like I can achieve it. So I would say to anybody to get on the program and coach with you.
Well, you've heard it direct from Sue. So, Sue, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I look forward to joining you on the next one.